The intimation once filed for the scheme would remain valid as long as the taxpayer is eligible for the composition scheme under GST. A composition taxpayer is required to pay tax at a special rate on total value of supplies. For an eligible manufacturer, tax at rate 1%, 0.5% CGST and 0.5% SGST or UTGST of annual aggregate turnover is payable. For an eligible person engaged in making supplies mentioned in Clause B of Para 6 of Schedule 2 of the CGST Act, like a provider of restaurant service, tax at rate 5%, 2.5% CGST and 2.5% SGST or UTGST of annual aggregate turnover is payable. For an eligible supplier, that is, traders, tax at rate 1%, 0.5% CGST and 0.5% SGST or UTGST of annual aggregate turnover is payable. This scheme is also available for an eligible service provider where tax at rate 6%, 3% CGST and 3% SGST or UTGST of annual aggregate turnover is payable. Tax liability under the composition scheme needs to be paid on quarterly basis via Challan CMP 08 by the 18th of the month following the relevant quarter. There are certain conditions which have to be adhered to by a person opting for the composition scheme. A taxable person opting for the scheme has to issue a bill of supply as he is not eligible to issue taxable invoice under GST. He has to mention the words composition taxable person not eligible to collect tax on supplies at the top of every bill of supply issued by him. Such taxable person is not eligible to claim input tax credit on purchases. He needs to mention the words composition taxable person on every notice board or signboard displayed at the prominent place at his every place of business. Certain restrictions are also to be adhered by composition taxpayers. He cannot make any interstate supplies of goods or services. Such taxpayer can also not make supply via e-commerce operators, who is required to collect TCS. He can neither be a casual taxable person nor a non-resident taxable person. A person whose aggregate turnover exceeds the specified eligibility limit, or in case he wrongly opts this scheme, has to opt out of the composition levy scheme by filing an intimation for withdrawal from the scheme in the form GST CMP 04 within 7 days from the day on which the threshold limit has been crossed. After opting out of the scheme, like a normal taxpayer, he has to pay tax as normal taxpayer, issue tax invoice for every taxable supply made, and is eligible for input tax credit thereafter.